So now that we finished I Am David, what I'm going to do over the next week is I'm going to read you some extracts from different books. These are books that have all come out rather recently. You may already own one and be familiar with it, or you may not have ever heard of them. So hopefully it might encourage you to maybe branch out to some different authors, or maybe just different themes that maybe you just don't explore. So the first one that we're going to explore is called When We Got Lost in Dreamland, and it's by Ross Welford. I know this is back to front to you, but that's what the front cover looks like, okay? And it says on it, my brother and I left reality together. Only one of us came back. So I'm going to read you an extract, which is a small amount of the book, to see whether it's something that you would be interested in continuing. So we've got before it all started. So I think this is going to set the scene for the story. So I've got to tell you about a bad dream. Only it's real as well. That's okay. It didn't make sense to me either at first. When I was very little, I had this dream about a crocodile coming down the railway track where we lived and chasing me around the back garden. This was where we lived before Dad left. Seb was still a baby. I'd wake up and shout for Mam, and she'd come into my room and say, shush, Malky, shush, you're awake, Sebby, it's just a bad dream. And she'd sit on the side of my bed and stroke my hair and sing the song that went, let it be, let it be, let it be. But the crocodile kept coming back. Then Mum had the idea of buying me a stuffed crocodile and giving it a funny name, and we chose Cuthbert. Nothing called Cuthbert could be scary, she said. So one night, I must have been about 6, the crocodile was there, back in our old garden, chasing me like before. I stopped and pointed to it and said its name, Cuthbert. In seconds, the beast in front of me turned into my toy. I watched, there in the garden in my Star Wars pyjamas, mesmerised, as the horny, scaly, knobbly skin became the soft green fur of a cuddly toy. The yellow razor teeth transformed into little white triangles of felt. Everything about him shrunk until he was a furry toy, all in my dream. When I woke up the next morning, Mum says my arm was slung around Toy Cuthbert. The nightmares went away shortly after that. This was my first experience of controlling a dream, and I kind of forgot all about it. Then the Dreaminator came along, and Cuthbert came back as well. And well, the next time I saw Cuthbert, the real Cuthbert, not the toy one, was several years later when I was with Seb, and the crocodile flopped out of the boot of the car belonging to one of the most evil men ever to have lived. I should have quit then, but I didn't. I was somewhere bigger, more mysterious and scarier than anywhere on earth that you could possibly dream of. I guess you'd call it Dreamland, but that's where I lost Seb. So that was just sort of setting the scene, that part. So that was all about before it started. So this is going to be chapter 1. This is my dream. I've been here before and I'm furious and scared. Furious because this is not meant to be happening, and scared because it is. It's Sebastian's fault, of course. Why does he keep doing this? Even if I could tell that things were getting better, Seb and I hadn't fought in weeks. Mum was happy and I had made friends at school. Well, a friend, sort of, but still, you'll meet her. Dad had called for the first time in ages. I stand in the mouth of the cave, wondering what to do. A massive seagull circles high above me in the cold blue sky. In the distance down by the shore, the same pair of woolly mammoths as before munch lazily on the same oversized birthday cake. I tut and think, why does Seb have to ruin everything? I could just wake up. In fact, that's exactly what I'm going. Oi, dog breath! I turn around to see my brother standing behind me in the cool shade of the cave, wearing his green goalkeeper's top. What's going on? I snap at him. I turn the Dreamators off. I know. Why did you do that? He whines. I turn them on again because I couldn't fall asleep. My sleep rhythms are out of sync with yours. My sleep rhythm is out of sync with yours. I know it's tricky to speak properly when you're missing 3 front baby teeth, but he doesn't even try. Anyway, I'm going to write it out like that every time he says something, so you'll have to imagine that he speaks like a dog's squeaky toy. Seb, man, I say, trying not to shout straight away. It isn't safe. There's something not right, and I think we should... Not right with what? Not right with the Dreaminators. With everything. Come on, Malky, you said we could... You promised. I didn't actually, but he's getting more whiny. I hate it when he gets whiny. Seb, I'm telling you, something is wrong. He's not listening. Where are the others, he asks. I shake my head. I'm still thinking about stopping the whole thing right there. Seb starts sniffing. They've been here, not long gone, in fact. He points to the fire smoking in a pit. The sharp wind outside the cave rattles the bunches of seaweed hanging in the long strings, like a grey-green flags that they're drying by the cave mouth. They have gone to steal food, I say a bit grumpily. You know how it goes. One last dream together, a short one. No more after that. What? Without us? Says Seb. That's not fair. Come on, Malk. We'll just wake up if we need to. From somewhere, my conscious mind, wherever that is right now, drifts a warning. How did it go? Inside your mind is bigger than the outside, Malky. Malky, shouts Seb. Come on! I give in. He's right on one thing. We can wake up and come out of the dream whenever we want. That bit I can still control at least. At the minute the crocodiles appears, we're out of here. I have never made a bigger mistake. All right, I say quickly before I can change my mind. We can catch them up. They won't have got further than the lake. And promise me, when I say we quit, okay? Promise, said Seb. But I'm not sure he's really listening. Chapter 2. We set off at a trot, each of us clutching a spear with a tip of a sharp flint, a thick wooden club of a fist-sized rock securely tied on the end with strips of leather. We get to the end of the beach, exactly like the real beach where we live in Teignmouth, apart from the mammoths, obviously, and run up the hill until we're staring out of the huge plain where, maybe 10,000 years' time, there'll be a wide road, and a pub playing live music, and a housing estate of low-rise flats. Now, there isn't any of that. There isn't anything made by humans, apart from an old-fashioned airship that's floating past in the sky above, shaped like a giant goldfish. Don't ask me what it's doing here. Dreams are weird like that. By now, I'm kind of used to it. There is no sign of our friends, though. I say, super sprint, dream style. You up for it? Seb grins gapily, and in the instant we're sprinting across the wind plain like a pair of Olympic runners battling for the finish line. Side by side, weapons in hand, I'm edging ahead of Seb, and he pulls a level of Gravy Lake comes into view in the far distance. Then he's ahead of me. He remains ahead as we descend the side of the shallow canyon where the green river of minty custard. This is a dream, remember? And we hop across the exposed rock and up the other side. I let him into a good lead so that he thinks that he's winning. Then it will be an easier matter to lengthen my stride, judging it finely so that I overtake him and win at the last minute. But not humiliate him so that he won't race again. And so the Gravy Lake gets closer and I can see the shapes of our companions gathering on its shore. I begin to exert myself a little more. I deliberately make my stride stronger and longer, but Seb is ahead of me. I drop my weapons and pump my arms more, thrusting my chin out and run harder and harder. It's happening again. My dream is not doing what I tell it to do. What's wrong? I'm not gaining on Seb at all. I have no idea exactly how fast we are running, but the ground is whooshing past under my feet at a terrifying rate, and however fast I go, Seb is managing to keep ahead of me. It's not meant to happen like this. I don't understand it. Kobe and the others are in full view now, and I can't stop in time. I'm going so fast that I run right past them into the shallows of the freezing cold lake, where the watery school gravy finally stops me and I fall forward, sinking under the surface before rising, gasping for air. The others point at me and laugh, while Seb bounces on his feet, arms raised in victory. The cold of the gravy has shocked me. Being beaten by Seb has shocked me more. I'm still standing in the shallows of the brown lake, and I look around the group. There's little Erin, old Farouk, and of course Kobe and the cave boy who looks like he does in Seb's book, which is cartoonish. He's basically a walking, talking drawing. He's wearing a fur thing that only covers one shoulder, and he has a club and rock weapon like the one that I ditched. Looking at his fur makes me feel even colder because I'm just wearing my soaking pyjamas. I close my eyes and say, change pyjamas to fur. And wait. Nothing happens. I try again, but I'm already losing confidence. Seb hasn't seen any of this. He's a few metres away talking to the others. I call over to him and he saunters back, all cocky after beating me in the race. "What's up, loser?" he says. "You not cold?" "Seb," I say, "it's all going wrong again." "What do you mean, again?" says Seb. "I've told you, the dream doesn't always do as it's told, and it's happening much quicker now. Look." I point upwards. Turn green. The sky does not turn green. I don't want to scare him though. Instead I say, "Shall we wake up now?" It really is the only safe option. He wrinkles his nose and pouts. "I don't want to." "What's wrong with you?" "You said it yourself, Malky. We haven't got much time. I want to get to the bit where I ride the mammoth, at least." He's in such a good mood, and he's probably right. Even if I can't direct things perfectly, we'll both come out of the dream cycle anyway, waking up normally in our beds at home in about 20 minutes. I'll soon dry out. "Relax, Malky. It'll be perfectly safe, just like a normal dream where weird stuff happens." I try to convince myself. I really do. I tell myself, let it be. "Come on, Malky," he says. "We're on a food raid, remember? Just like the book." Yeah, I sigh. You win. I move forward onto the lip of the low cliff where the lake tumbles over the rock in a massive waterfall like the drawing in the book. I release the big breath that I took in the scent of air, turning my head completely in line with the horizon. The smell is coming from where the sun is just beginning to set, painting the gravy lake brownish pink. Someone is roasting meat. Mammoth? I turn back to the others and nod. "Meat," I say. Kobe's cartoon lips part in a wide grin as he sticks out his tongue with pleasure. He has no fear about what might come next. He never does. Beside him, Erin stands up and holds out her to old Ferric, who waves it away and gets to her feet with a small grunt. Seb made up most of the names, by the way. Just thought I'd say that. Erin is a kid in his class. Through the trees there's a huge rock and a little further a faint glow of fire. Stealing meat from another tribe is a huge risk. In the book it's all fine and happy ending. The tribe gives us meat because we're hungry, then Kobe gets to ride on the mammoth. We've never actually got that far in the dream, which is probably why Seb doesn't want to leave. He really wants to ride that mammoth, and I can't say I blame him. I crouch behind the rock and pick up a lump of dirt and sniff it, recoiling at the foul smell of dog poo. "Dogs," I whisper, wiping it off my fingers. Even in the dark, I see a flash of fear pass over Erin's face. We all know about the dogs. The other tribes travel with them. They can talk to them, give them names and commands, just like we do in real life. The dogs attack when told to. They are terrifying, even in a dream. Then, from behind me, I hear a "Rrrr." I swallow and spin around. There it is, an old and ginger hound with a grey muzzle. Its head is held low, ready to pounce. Its eyes flash amber in the low sun. It lifts up one misshapen front paw, twisted from some old injury, and growls again. "Rrrr." But there's another one now, and another. We turn, but they're behind us too. The 5 of us, me, Seb, Kobe, Erin and Farouk, are blocked from retreating, trapped. So that's the end of chapter 2. So that is just an extract from that book, okay? And that book was only just released. So it was released on the 21st of January this year. So it's only a couple of weeks old. So it will be available for you to buy, I'm sure, in lots of different places if it interests you. So once again, it was called When We Got Lost in Dreamland by Ross Welford. So it's all about different dreams. And obviously we know that there's 2 brothers. And obviously we know that only one is going to return from a dream. So it'll be very interesting if you want to continue reading that. Let me know if you go ahead and purchase it at all. But as we go through the rest of the week and next week, what I want us to do is have a look at some different texts as well, some different extracts, just to get you a bit more exposed to a wider range of reading material. So I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if you did. And obviously I will see you next time for our class read. Bye, Kestrels.